Hello, I'm Dr. Rajpal, and in this video, I'm going to discuss an article from the Hindu. The title of this article is The Dream of Borderless World by Professor Shelley Walia, who needs no introduction in the literary fraternity. But for the young learners, Professor Shelley Walia is Professor Emeritus at the Department of English and Cultural Studies, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He is the author of Humanities at the Crossroads, and I deem myself fortunate enough to be taught by Professor Shelley Walia, sir, during my master's and MPhil programs at the Department of English and Cultural Studies, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Here, I would like to share with you that my journey of learning from Shelley sir started before I joined the department, when I got myself admitted in the department way back in 2008. Prior to that, I started learning from Shelley sir, and that was through the same media, the editorial of the newspaper. And precisely, this is the beauty and biggest benefit of reading the newspaper, reading the editorials of the newspapers, that we learn from the experience and erudite scholars, intellectuals like Shelley sir. So before I come and discuss the article, the conclusion of the article, let me share with you the vocabulary from this article. Certain words and phrases, word combinations, which are very attractive, and we must learn them, or a beginner can learn these words and expressions from this article. So as per the previous pattern of TEC, I would be starting the vocabulary portion of this article first, and that would be through this PPT. So let's start from the first slide, from the beginning. Yeah, here we go. Xenophobic, feeling or showing dislike or fear of people from other countries. This is xenophobic, that we fear from the foreigners. Xenophobic slogans. Frenzy, a state of great activity and strong emotion that is often violent or frightening and under control. Excruciating. The next word is excruciating, and it means extremely painful and bad. He rolled on the floor in excruciating agony. The process is painful but not excruciating. Arsenal, a collection of weapons such as guns and explosives. The cost of the proposed arsenal is huge. Concertina, a musical instrument like a small accordion that you hold in both hands. You press the ends, put them apart to produce sounds. That is concertina. The next word is, the word concertina is used in the sense of concertina wires for fencing the borders of the countries. So concertina wires, it is a type of barbed wire or razor wire that is formed in large coils, which can be expanded like a concertina. So that is concertina wires, the fence. Unabashed, not ashamed, embarrassed, or affected by people's negative opinions. Indifferent, when other people would be appeared unabashed by all the media attention. The next is bazooka, a long gun like a tube in shape, which is held on the shoulder and used to fire rockets at military vehicles. Irksome, annoying, frustrating, tiresome. I found the restrictions irksome, an irksome journey. The next word is intransigence. And intransigence, the quality in people of being unwilling to change their opinions or behavior in a way that would be helpful to others. Stubbornness, negotiations collapsed in the face of trade union intransigence. Sickeningly, adverb derived from the word, normal word, sick, in a way that makes you feel shocked or full of horror. Synonym, repulsively. She described her injuries in sickeningly graphic details. And in its informal usage, the word sickeningly, in a way that makes you feel jealous or annoyed because you wish you had something that somebody else has. Jealousy. My cousin is sickeningly perfect. And here we go for the next slide of the PPT. Profoundly, in a way that has very great effect on somebody, something. We in the usage, let's see this word in usage. We are profoundly affected by what happens to us in childhood. And in medical terms, in medical usage, or in medical jargon, it is used very seriously, completely, profoundly deep. The next word is expulsion, the act of forcing somebody to leave a place, the act of expelling somebody. These events led to the expulsion of senior officers from the institution. Jarring, incongruence in a striking or shocking way. Clashing. The telephone struck a jarring note in those Renaissance surroundings. In its second uses, causing a physical shock, jolt, or vibration. The van came to a jarring halt. The next word is bigotry, the state of feelings or the act of expressing strong, unreasonable beliefs of or opinions. And after taking up words from this article, I have specifically chosen some phrases, word combinations, and focal points of this article. The first beautiful expression is dispossessed sea of humanity, knee pressed into his neck. Frenzy labels are dash dash dash, and here we can apply TZ grammar, that is transformative generative grammar. We transform a sentence, we transform an expression using its basic structure and generating more sentences that have been the perennial focus during these videos. The arsenal of concertina wires and checkposts are not visible. Toxic slum, razor sharp fence, gushing waters, insatiable desire, souvenir of rebels dancing on the edges of chaos, lame excuse, camouflaging the tyranny of the majority, sorrowfully, the world overflows with stern vigilantism, the cold and heartless, bureaucracy, the secret agents, and the terrorizing state apparatus. To turn a deaf ear to the demands of dash dash dash. Again, we can fill as per the contextual requirement. Hawk-eyed state, a state where surveillance is in abundance. The language of diversity and dignity. The suburbia of poverty and hunger, jarring sense of imbalance, terrorizing state apparatus. So these have been the phrases and word combinations which would help us to improve our language, improve our communication skills, improve our writing skills, and certainly would expedite our reading skills as well. So now we come to the discussion on this article. So in the very first instance, laying out a chilling diagnosis of the contemporary world order, the writer submits that more than the biological virus, civilization is experiencing a pandemic of barriers and barricades across the globe. This is the first submission of the writer. So he lays out a chilling diagnosis of the contemporary world order. The images of violence, atrocities, vulnerable, hungry people, or a white man, or a white policeman rather, suffocating an African American with his knee pressed into his neck, compel the writer to think that the word needs to rise above the frenzy of labels of race, gender, caste, religion, and political bias. Then the writer visualizes a borderless world, free from the arsenal of concertina wires and checkposts, where there are no barriers of language or culture. Absorbed in the landscape, the writer begins to imagine a world undivided by race, gender, religion, or nations. The writer posits a nagging question. And the question is, how long can you keep a human being locked up in the crime is struggling for human rights of all? The writer opines that the insatiable desire to break out becomes the carnival of the oppressed. The wandering clouds or the effortless river is a souvenir of the rebels dancing on the edges of chaos. The writer believes that the fence is a testimony of death and terror of race and ultranationalism. We stand fractured by not only borders, but political and economical and social and ethnical differences. Surveillance, lockdowns, and military vigilance at the borders are lame excuses of self-defense, camouflaging the tyranny of the majority, aiming the expulsion of the other. So very beautifully, the writer is taking up a dig at the sorry state of affairs in the contemporary times. And sorrowfully, racism now seems to be embedded in the very idea of the fence. The word overflows with stern vigilantism, the cold and heartless bureaucracy, the secret agents, the terrorizing state apparatus. This is the reality of the world, of the contemporary world. And looking at the calamitous clouds hovering above all of us in the contemporary times, the writer lays out a fully set of pertinent questions. The first question is, how long will you ignore the farmers, the artisans, the builders? The second one is, how long will they turn a deaf ear to the demands of those who want to break out of the confines of chauvinism or racial fanaticism? Moving ahead, the writer lays one more question, and that's a powerful one, that how long will their voices go unheard from across the fence? Voices forfeited within the words of resistance, not for rewards, but for the vision of peace and freedom, of human rights and dignity that await people of all races, of all colors, of all ethnicities, of all genders. So finally, accentuating on viable option, left is to peacefully send across the fences their messages and songs of resistance that reverberate across the world with the ideas of revolution and hope, of emancipation and freedom from the tyranny of the handful who rule the world. So this has been in this article. I hope you must have enjoyed this wonderful article on contemporary situation, on contemporary world order. And if you have liked the video, I would request you, if you are new on this channel, kindly subscribe the channel and join with us in this noble cause of dissemination of knowledge by subscribing and sharing TEC. Thank you.